Section 13 of the Family Kitchen Gardener. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Dennis Sayers. The Family Kitchen Gardener by Robert Buist. Section 13. Tarragon, Artemisia dracunculus. L'Astragon, French. Dragoon, German. Tarragon is a perennial plant, a native of Siberia and Tartary, where it is covered during the winter months with snow. The French are particularly fond of it in salads. The leaves and young tops are used as ingredients in pickles, and a simple infusion of them in vinegar makes an excellent fish sauce. The leaves are also eaten with beefsteaks, having a fragrant smell and an aromatic taste. Culture. It is propagated by parting the roots in spring and planting them in a light, rich soil, 1 foot apart, but free from dung that is not thoroughly decomposed. 6 plants will supply a family. Cover them in severe winters with rough litter, or a few branches and leaves. If they are planted in moist soil, heavy and continued frosts will destroy their roots. They delight in a warm, dry situation. Thyme. Thymus vulgaris. Thym, French. Thymian, German. The common garden thyme is a low, evergreen, procumbent shrub. It is a native of England, Spain, and Greece. It has an agreeable aromatic smell and a warm, pungent taste. Its culinary use is principally for soups and seasoning of every description. Culture. A few bushes of this plant is all that is necessary for a family. They can be procured by the slip or division of the root, or from seeds. The latter are very small, and should be sown in moist weather, on a spot of fine soil. Cover the seed very lightly, and press it with the back of the spade. A spot of ground 1 foot square is sufficient. Thyme that is intended for winter use should be cut when just coming into bloom, tied up in bundles, dried in the shade, and put away in paper. Tomato. Solanum lycopersicum. Tomate, French. Liebesapfel, German. In taking a retrospect of the past 18 years, there is no vegetable on the catalogue that has obtained such popularity. 1828 through 9, it was almost detested. In 10 years more, every variety of pill and panacea was extract of tomato. It now occupies as great a surface of ground as cabbage, and is cultivated the length and breadth of the country. As a culinary dish, it is on every table from July to October. Contiguous to large cities, where a high price is given for the first and earliest supply, the exertions of the experienced market gardener bring every operation to bear on its early maturity. It is brought to the table in an infinite variety of forms, being stewed and seasoned, stuffed and fried, roasted and raw, and in nearly every form palatable to all. It is also made into pickles, ketchup, and salted in barrels for winter use, so that with a few years' more experience we may expect to see it as an everyday dish from January to January. It belongs to the same family as the potato, and, like it, is destined to be universally cultivated in all climates where it will mature, and we yet expect to see it grown to an extent in the erections of the wealthy, who inhabit colder latitudes, that they too may enjoy this favorite. There are several kinds grown for fancy purposes, but only 3 sorts for the table. These are the large smooth red. This is a very recent variety, in every respect similar to the common sort, only being smooth and free from protuberances and indentations. Pear-shaped. This variety is of a reddish pink color, very fleshy, contains fewer seeds than the former sorts, equally as good for stewing, and preferable for pickling, being more firm, and of a better shape. Cherry-shaped. This variety is very appropriately named. It is cultivated expressly for pickling, and forms a very beautiful variety. There are several other fancy sorts, generally of a yellow color, which have an interest to those who are fond of variety. Culture. It is indispensable in good gardening to have this popular vegetable fit for the table at the earliest possible period. We therefore advise all to resort to the best and most expeditious means at their command. Hotbeds, in March, are generally used to grow a few hundreds or thousands, as wants require. Sow the seed very thinly, and cover it slightly. It is generally sure of vegetating, and if the plants come up thickly, they draw and crowd each other. In a few days they will be 3 or 4 inches high, requiring to be freely aired, if in a hotbed, at all favorable periods in time of sunshine. As they advance in growth, transplant into other frames, under glass, where they will stand 2 or 3 inches apart, to harden and prepare for removal to the open ground. About the 1st of May, select some sheltered spot. Plant them 3 feet apart by the side of a close fence or other erection, where they will have the full benefit of the sun the whole day. When they are about a foot high, draw earth to their stems and surround them with branches for support. The earliest plants should have a few inches taken off their tops as soon as they have set their fruit. This will cause them to ripen more rapidly. Where there is plenty of space under glass, it is a good plan to pot a quantity of the plants in April, and encourage their growth by every possible means, transplanting them into the open air as soon as there is a possibility of settled, warm weather, which is generally about the 2nd week in May in this vicinity. Those who have not such convenient arrangements as above can place a small box or large pot with good rich earth in their kitchen window, and sow in it a few seeds about the middle of March or the 1st of April. By this means they will have the crop ready 2 or 3 weeks before those that are sown in the open air. For a general crop, sow about the last week of April, on a sheltered, warm spot of ground in light, rich soil. If the nights are cold, cover with a little straw or other brush. Keep the plants thin, that they may grow stocky and strong. Transplant about the 20th of May, 2 feet from plant to plant, and 3 feet from row to row, where they are to remain. The frame in which the cabbage plants were during winter is an excellent spot for these seeds, which may be sown as soon as they are removed, in March. Protect with mats and shutters in cold weather. The seed grows best when it is only very slightly covered. Although great care is taken for its early protection, it is of a very hardy nature, and will lie dormant in the ground all winter, vegetating in the spring as the season advances. In some seasons there is a caterpillar very destructive to the vines, against which the only remedy is picking them off as soon as they appear. For the proper culture of this crop, it is indispensable to have rich ground. That whereon the winter spinach was grown will suit, if in good heart. Truffle, tuber à terral. Truffe, French, truffle, German. The truffle is a subterraneous fungus, growing naturally some inches below the surface in some parts of Italy, France, and even Great Britain. We do not suppose that its cultivation has been attempted in this country, neither are we intimately acquainted with the process of its culture. It has been successfully grown by several individuals in England, who procured the truffle from where it was found growing, laying it in somewhat similar situation, either in the vicinity of woods or in the open field. It is a very singular production, combining, in the opinion of naturalists, a flavor of both flesh and vegetable. It is of a globular formation, about the size of a hen's egg, without any roots or fibers. It is sometimes seen of a dark brown color, while at other times it is of a whitish appearance. The surface is uneven and rough, the flesh firm, white when young, but as it becomes old it approaches black, with light brown veins. Dogs and swine have been trained to search for the truffle. In Italy it is called swine's bread, as these animals are exceedingly fond of them. The Italians tie a cord to the hog's foot and drive him, observing where he roots. The French and English have dogs called truffle dogs, trained to scent it out. These dogs point out the spot by scraping and barking, and the truffles, which are generally found in clusters, are dug up with a spade. They are used, like the mushroom, in stuffings, gravies, and other high-seasoned preparations, and will keep perfectly sound for several months. Culture. They have been successfully cultivated in Germany, France, and England, on which there is a large pamphlet published, to which we refer those who wish information on the subject. We are not acquainted with the manner of their growth, and it is not our habit to detail to others what we do not practically know. Turnip, Brassica rapa. Navet, French, Steckrübe, German. The turnip is a vegetable common to all temperate and cold latitudes. It has been known for 250 years, and has become, in some countries, an extensive field crop. It is not positively known of what country it is a native. Horticultural and agricultural science has brought it to its present perfection. It is accounted a salubrious root, but in weak stomachs it is apt to produce flatulency and prove difficult of digestion. It is frequently used medicinally in coughs, hoarseness, and other asthmatic disorders. The syrup of turnip, after being extracted by baking and mixed with honey, is a family receipt for these complaints. Turnips are principally used at the table with boiled roasts, or mashed and strained, and mixed with butter, cream, and other seasoning, for which purpose mid-sized turnips are better than large ones, as the latter, being of a spongy nature, contain more water than those smaller. In the present day, during the great deficiency of the potato crop, they form a partial substitute for that valuable root, especially in Europe, where some of the fleer kinds of the turnip have been found, by recent analysis, to give nearly as much nourishment. The young sprouts from the tops, in spring, make excellent greens. There are only a few sorts suitable for garden culture. Early white Dutch, or white strap-leaved, is a very early kind of a round, flat form. The leaves are short and narrow. This and the following variety will produce roots fit for the table in 6 weeks from sowing. Early red-top Dutch, or strap-leaved red-top, has every character of the former, except that the portion of the root which is fully exposed above ground is of a red or purple color. Early yellow Dutch is a very beautifully formed variety of the color indicated by its name. It is quite firm, sweet, round in form, and keeps well. Of this class there are also the white and yellow stone, yellow Malta, snowball, and some others, all of which we think in this climate inferior to the 3 described. For spring use, the following Swede or rutabaga turnips should be sown. The purple-top Swede is of an oval, tapering form, and requires to be sown in July, flesh very fine, and keeps till spring. Improved Swede. We are highly in favor of this variety of turnip, either for the garden or field. It has a better formed root than the common sort. The leaves do not grow so strong. The flesh is of a fine yellow and very pleasant flavor. The following are the relative nutritive properties of the Swede and garden or field turnips. 4-ounce Swede turnip afford 110 grams nutritive matter. 4-ounce Dutch or garden afford 85 grams nutritive matter. Culture. The soil most genial for the turnip is acknowledged to be a gravelly, sandy loam. Some say poor soil, where no other vegetables will grow, is the best. I say good rich soil with a dry bottom. In such, sow for an early crop as soon as the frost is out of the ground, either broadcast or in drills, 10 inches apart and 1/4 of an inch deep. An ounce of seed will sow a bed 4 feet wide and 40 feet long. Rake the surface even. If dry weather, press the ground with the back of the spade or a light wooden roller. One sowing only can be made in the spring. From the middle to the end of July is the proper time for sowing the Swede or rutabaga. Drills are most suitable for this sort. Draw them 15 inches apart and thin out the plants as they grow, till they stand 8 inches from each other. This variety requires very frequent use of the hoe in stirring the soil, to keep it sweet and encourage the growth requisite to mature this best and most nutritious of turnips. In August, sow the other sorts for a fall and winter supply. It is best to make 2 sowings, say about the 1st and towards the middle or end of the month. Roll or tramp firm the ground after the seed at this period of the year, the first sowing to mature early for immediate use, the last sowing to store away for a winter supply. In some seasons we have to sow and sow again, either from drought or the effects of the fly, which frequently destroys it as soon as it vegetates. In dry seasons it is particularly destructive. In garden culture, a few pots of water every evening will promote the growth of the seed and bring it speedily away from the attacks of the fly. One thing must be observed: to have the ground always fresh dug before sowing. Soot, wood ashes, and air-slaked lime are all said to be preventives, if strewn over the plants. We feel assured that its application will retard their progress, but cloudy or showery weather is more effectual. If seed of the current year and seed of 1 or 2 years old be sown on the same piece of ground separately, the old seed will frequently be cut off, while the seed of the current year will escape. Good seed will germinate in from 36 to 48 hours. When the crop is destroyed, stir or dig the ground immediately and sow again. When the plants have grown about an inch high, introduce the hoe among them and thin out to 2 or 3 inches apart, and in a week or 2 more give them another hoeing and thinning, till they stand 6 inches from each other. Do not draw any earth to their roots. In fact, the reverse was our practice 20 years ago. They were sown on ridges, and the earth drawn down as the plants advanced in growth. The result was frequently 40 tons per acre. Taking up the crop. Turnips may be kept perfectly sound till spring by being taken up about the 1st of November, or before severe frost sets in. Cut the leaves off to about half of an inch from the bulb, collect the latter, and put them in a dry pit or cellar. Cover with straw and earth over all. Thus protected, they will be found fresh and perfect till February, after which the Swede will be fit for the table till April. Those for spring use can be pitted out of doors in a dry situation, piling them in a conical form and covering them with 3 inches of straw and a foot or 18 inches of earth, which will be ample protection. When opened in spring, these will be found to have nearly all the flavor of being fresh from the field. Save seed. In many cases this is very essential. You will then be always sure of the age and quality. Select early in spring a few of the best formed roots, draw deep drills 2 feet apart, and place the bulbs therein, covering them all over carefully with the earth. They will soon shoot up and branch out, ripening their seeds in July. It is preferable, however, to change the seed of this, as well as all other vegetables, every few years, and in purchasing, but always from a responsible vendor, who feels a vital interest in selling a pure and genuine article. The seed will keep 3 years in a dry place. If it is 2 years old, soak it in water 24 hours before sowing. End of section 13. Recorded for LibriVox by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California.